A very good morning, my dear students. I will going to continue with the fourth module, technology forecasting. In the previous video lecture, I told you about the methods involved in exploratory techniques and the comparison of exploratory as well as the normative methods and its usage. Today, I am going to explain the remaining part of the technological forecasting, some of the topics which are involved in the remaining part of the syllabus. Those are the role of technology forecast, flow diagram, and combination of the technology forecasting, methods and tools which are used for innovation process, integration of technology production with the innovation in the business form. Yes, we're going to see the contents, remaining parts in this module. The contents are in today's video lecture in the fourth module, a role of technology forecasting, flow diagram and combining forecast of technologies, integration of technology production innovation and product development in business processes within enterprises, methods and tools in innovation process according to the situation. See, these are the contents. This is the last part of this module. So, these are all the important aspects one who has to understand in the technology forecast. First thing is, what is the role of technology forecasting? I will go through that. Coming to the role of technology forecasting, the forecasting serves as an input to the process of planning and decisions. The forecasting, that means whatever the speculations you are making with respect to the technology, it serves as the input or the source for the process of planning and decision making in purchasing a new machine or in introducing a new technology within the company or changing the process of a particular manufacturing or procuring a new procedure for the new product, whatever it may be. See, Martino, who is a scientist, has described the role of technology forecasting in planning as follows. See, as I told you in the last point, it's mainly involved in the process of planning and decision making. The role of technology forecasting is mainly in planning as well as in decision making. So, Martino has described the role of technology forecasting in planning as follows. First one, the forecast identifies limits beyond which it is not possible to go. That means, see, whatever the speculation, whatever the forecast you are going to do, it identifies limits beyond which it is not possible to go. For example, you are planning the manufacturers for castings around 1000 tons per month. See, based on the resources of the company and the manpower and other aspects, if you are going to forecast, it shows till what limit you can plan. That is the first and foremost thing you have to understand. It identifies the limits beyond which it is not possible to go. For example, the company is having a risk constraint of 1000 10 per kg of production in foundry. You can't plan for 5,000 to 10,000. Okay, it taking all the factors into consideration, taking even the some subcontract or outsourcing, taking all into the consideration, the forecast identifies limits beyond which it is not possible to go. Okay. The second point is it describes the alternatives which are open and can be chosen from. The meaning is here, while forecasting or while speculating, it gives an forecaster the alternatives, the best alternatives which are widely open and can be chosen. It means there will be lot of alternative methods for particular purpose. It may be for in the purchasing of a new machine, or as I told you, introducing of new process, or with respect to procedure or anything. Okay, the technology aspect, it describes the best alternatives which are open and can be chosen. It can be chosen easily. That is the role of the technology forecasting in planning. The third point, it indicates possibilities which can be achieved. The technology forecasting in planning indicates the possibilities. What are the possibilities with respect to product life cycle management which can be attained or achieved within the specified constraints. See here, the point is, what are the possibilities? See here, one actually forecaster, we can't forecast beyond the limits. For example, as if you take the same thing as I told you, 1000 ton per month, if the plant capacity is with all the factors considering in a foundry, it indicates the possibilities. Up to maximum it can go for 1500 when you go for outsourcing or some other method. So it shows the possibilities. The technology forecasting indicates the possibilities which can be achieved. Okay, it is nearer to the realistic thing one can do. That is the role of technology forecasting as per the Martineau in planning. Okay. Fourth one, it establishes feasible rate of progress so that the plan can be made to take full advantages of such rates. Conversely, it does not demand an impossible rate of progress. What do you mean by this? It establishes feasible rate of progress. See, I will forecast for, in a short term forecasting, I will forecast for next month, thinking that my production requirement is 1100 kg or 1000 tons per kg, whatever it may be the units. The role of technology forecast here is establishes the feasible rate of progress one can achieve. See, in the next month, first month I can go for with the 1000 tons. In the second month I can go for 1200 tons. In the third month, whether I can go for 1400 tons. This is called as feasible rate of progress, for example, so that the plan can be made to take full advantages of such rates. Conversely, it does not demand an impossible rate of progress. See here, the rate of progress is feasible one. It is not an impossible one. It is a feasible rate of progress. See, that is the vital role of technological forecasting in planning. That is the meaning here. It gives clear indication of feasible rate of progress. It establishes also so that the plan can be made to take full advantage of such rates. Okay, that is a point here. Fifth one, it provides a reference standard for the plan. Here, according to the Martineau, here the role of technological forecasting in planning is it provides a reference standard for the plan. See, if you want, a company is making a process planning or a production planning, this Martineau method, role of technology forecasting in planning can be taken as a standard, can be used as a standard or a reference for the planning. Main thing is here, one thing you keep it in mind, the feasibility, the practicality or the reality with the company which can go with can be described by the Martineau method of role of forecasting. So here it provides a reference standard for the plan. Sixth one, it furnishes warning signals which can alter the decision maker that it will not be possible to continue the present activities. See here, for example, just imagine there in a machine shop, you are doing a machining for particular foundry forging component. All of a sudden, you notices some of the defect in the forging after machining. Then you want to stop that forging process in the forging department. You know that forging department and machining department will be two separate departments. The thing is, here in the machine shop, you will come to know that there are some defects in the forging components which are forged. So what you have to do is, you have to bring to the notice of the a forging person or the forging manager, or it may be a forging engineer, so that there are some defects which are occurring in forging. So it furnishes warning signals which can alter the decision maker that it will not be possible to continue the present activities. Understand? Sure, once the planning is done, it furnishes the warning signals. See, once the planning is done of the technology forecasting, the planning schedule will be followed. In between, if at all any mishap occurs, then it will be possible. It furnishes warning signals which can alter the decision maker that it will be not possible to continue the present activities. That is the meaning. See, these are the role of technology forecasting. See, I will repeat all the points once again. Martineau, who is a scientist, has described the role of technology forecasting in planning as follows. The forecast identifies limits beyond which it is not possible to go. That is the first point. Second point is, it describes the alternatives which are open and can be chosen from. Third point, it indicates possibilities which can be achieved. Fourth point is, it establishes feasible rate of progress so that the plan can be made to take full advantage of such rates. Conversely, or otherwise, it does not demand an impossible rate of progress. Fifth point is, it provides a reference standard for the plan. Sixth one is, it furnishes the warning signals which can alter the decision maker so that it will be not possible to continue the present activities. See, these are the six vital or the roles of the technological forecasting in planning as per the Martineau. See here in the mainly in question paper, they will not mention the name, describe Martineau role of technology forecasting. Whatever the question may be, if they ask briefly explain the role of technological forecasting in planning, you have to write the 7 steps. You have to list the 7. Enumerate. They may ask the question like this: enumerate the role of technology forecasting in planning. In that case, you have to list out or enumerate these 7 points. Okay, the Martineau is the best description according to the many textbooks. So he has described very well the role of technology forecasting in planning. We'll go to the next topic: flow diagram and combining forecast of technologies. First thing is, what do you mean by a flow diagram? The flow diagram is a diagram to describe the control flow of a business process or review. These are also called as control flow diagrams. Understand? So these are not only called as flow diagrams simply, they are also called as control flow diagrams because it is the diagram which describes the control flow of a business process or review. It best describes the control flow of the business process, control flow of the business process or review. I will going to show that diagram in the next slide. The decision maker uses forecasting models to assist him or her in decision making process. Here, along with the flow diagram, the decision maker uses forecasting model to assist him or her in the decision making process. Whether, for example, whether the forecaster can move forward with regulating the or with incorporating the changes needed within the flow, those things can be decided by the decision maker with the help of the forecasting models. Understand? The decision making often uses the modeling processes to investigate the impact of different courses of action retrospectively. That is, as if the decision has already been made under a course of action. See here, the decision making always, whenever the forecaster or the decision maker uses the modeling process, often he uses the modeling process to investigate. What for uses the modeling process? To investigate the impact of different courses of action retrospectively. Retrospectively means whatever he has done previously, based on that it will be easy for him or to her to investigate the impact of different courses of action. That is, as if the decision has already been made under a course of action. For example, I need to incorporate in between the process a certain parameter in certain manufacturing aspect. In that case, by retrospecting what has happened before, when I introduced some parameter, that I can make the decision. That means, see, for example, I will give you an example for this also. Think that you are doing a sheet metal work. While doing a sheet metal work, in between the process, suddenly there is a change in the design. In the design, you have to incorporate the changes in the design in the manufacturing process. You have done a cup drawing in the sheet metal. You have to do it to the to the another shape from that same cup. Okay, you have to enlarge the cup size. For example, you want to increase the size, that is one factor. Whether you can increase the size, you have done it before, you have increased the size before, retrospectively you have done that. Based on the previously whatever you've done, see what decision that changes what you have made in the design which was done successfully before. Yes, the decision maker can easily adopt the changes in the design process. For the sheet metal, you can increase the size of the cup. That is an example. Understand? That is the meaning here. See, whatever the changes you want to incorporate in between the process, that changes by going through the retrospectively, you can make it by using some of the modeling, often uses the modeling processes. Next point is, that is why the sequence of steps in the modeling processes in the figure must be considered in reverse order. I am going to show you the figure. It should be considered in the reverse order. Those are nothing but the sequences of steps in the modeling processes. I will show you in the next slide. For example, the output must be considered first. Whatever the output is there, you have to consider that as first. It is helpful to break the components of decision making into three groups: uncontrollable, controllable, and resources. That defines the problem situation. It breaks the components of decision making into three groups. What are the three groups? Uncontrollable, controllable, and resources. You have to consider the output first, then you have to break into three components of decision making. As indicated in the above chart, the decision making process has the following components. So you can see in the diagram here, forecast within an organization, forecasting and managerial decision making. See here, sixth is the action, that is nothing but the output. It is, you can see the decision maker having the inputs from the forecast as also from the resource. See here, the forecast as well as the resource, the decision making is having the two inputs, resources and forecast. Once the decision maker takes some decision, again the action has to be taken, then afterwards the interaction on decision and the performance to be combined, and finally it has to be performed. See, once the output, the performance is the output, that can go into the again into the reverse order. See, that is the meaning here. You can see again the performance can be given back to the forecaster so that the decision maker can change accordingly. Again it can be given back to the resources. Okay, the thing is, what are the controllable and uncontrollable factors are there in the forecasts will be made known to the decision maker by the output. Okay, and the resources. So please understand this flow diagram. This flow diagram is nothing but the control flow of the process or review, which is in the reverse order. Again, this flow diagram, the decision maker has broken into three steps. One is three step controllable, uncontrollable, and resources. Okay, then as I told you, here the resources that defines the problem situation. Resources is nothing but defines the problem situation. So this is nothing but forecasting within organization, forecasting and managerial decision making. You can understand from the performance, you can once again go to the decision maker. See, finally, the interaction will be the output. Again, the output can be given to the performance. Even performance is also an output, but mainly you are going to say the interaction, that is nothing but an output. Based on the performance, the decision maker can able to change the decision accordingly. That is the meaning. See, we'll go to the each and every point. What do you mean by the performance measure? What do you mean by resources, forecast, decisions, interactions, and actions? Here, performance measure, you can see number one, the performance measure or indicator or objective. Measuring business performance is top priority for managers. See how the business is performing, whether it is as per the requirement of the business objective, whether it has attained the requirements or the goals of the business. Measuring business performance is the top priority for managers. Second is management by objective works. If you know the objectives, unfortunately, most business managers do not know explicitly what it is. Management by objective works. If you know the objective works, unfortunately, most business managers do not know explicitly what it is. Explicitly means exactly what it is, clear cut. If the managers may not be knowing, most of the managers, business managers might not be knowing what it is. The development of effective performance measures is seen as increasingly important in almost all the organization. See here, the performance measures, it is important, it is an inevitable part almost in all the organizations, irrespective of the type of business it is. However, the challenges of achieving this in the public and for non-profit sectors are arguably considerable. See, in some of the sectors like public sector and non-profit organizations, the performance measurements can't be according to the goal. You can't achieve according to the goal in some of the sectors. This mainly is public and non-profit sectors. But other than these sectors, in all the sectors, it may be manufacturing or design, whatever it may be, you can measure the performance, which is important in the organization. Performance measures provides the desirable level of outcome. It provides the desirable level of outcome, that is objective of your decision. Objective is important in identifying the forecasting activity. See, whatever the outcome is there, desirable level of outcome is known by your performance measure, right? That objective is important in identifying the forecasting, whether that forecast, whatever the forecaster has done, that method is well suited for the business, that can be made known by the forecaster. Based on what? Based on the output. How you are going to get the output? Based on the performance measures. The desirable level of outcome will be there. That objective is important in identifying the forecasting activity. Second one is resources. What are resources? Resources are the constant elements that do not change during the time horizon of the forecast. Resources are the factors that define the decision problem. Strategic decisions usually have longer time horizons than both the tactical and the operational decisions. What are the resources? First thing, resources are the constant elements which do not change during the time horizon of the forecast. Resources are nothing but the elements which will not change according to the time horizon. These are also the factors that define the decision problem. Strategic decisions usually have long time horizons than both the tactical and operational decisions. Here, strategic decisions usually have longer time horizons than both tactical and operational decisions. Consider when you compare the strategic, tactical, and operational decisions, strategic decisions have longer time horizons comparatively with tactical. With the tactics, some tactics, you are going to make the decisions that have lesser time horizons when compared with the strategic decisions. Again, when you compare with the strategic and the operational decisions, the operational decisions will also have lesser time comparatively with the strategic decisions. So, strategic decisions have the longer time horizon. Why the strategic decisions used? Because it has only one reason. It is will be having longer time horizons. So, the resources will be based on strategic decisions. What are the resources? Resources are nothing but the constant elements that do not change with time horizon of the forecast are the factors that define the decision problem. Okay. So, resources will be based on the strategic decisions. Third one is forecast. Forecast input come from the decision making environment. Uncontrollable input must be forecasted or predicted. Here, uncontrollable. You see the third one in the block diagram. Here the forecaster, from the forecasts it go to the decision maker. Right. Here forecasts input come from the decision maker environment. Okay. From the performance it goes again to the forecaster. Uncontrollable inputs must be forecasted or predicted. See, what do you mean by the performance measures? Nothing but the outputs. So, some which output where uncontrollable uncontrollable factors may be achieved. Those again, once again, will be given as input to the forecaster. Right. Again, it will be taken for the decision making. Fourth, decisions. Decision inputs are the known collection of possible course of actions you might take. It is nothing but the known collection of all possible courses. See, the inputs for the decision making is one is the resources and another one is the forecast. According to the block diagram, you can see resources and the forecasters are the inputs. Right. The collection of all possible courses of actions you might take. Fifth one is interaction. You can see after from the decision maker the interaction arises. Right. You can see again in the block diagram the decision maker it takes the decision and actions. From that interaction will arise in the fifth step. Right. Interaction among the above decision components are the logical or mathematical functions representing the cause and effects relationship among inputs, resources, forecasts, and the outcome. Interaction are the most important types of relationship involved in the decision making process. See here, interactions among the above decision components are maybe the logical or mathematical functions representing the cause and effect relationship among the inputs, resources, forecasts, and the outcome. See, interactions will be it will be the cause and effect relationship among the inputs, resources, forecasts, and the outcome. Right? Outcome is nothing but the performance. Interactions are the most important types of relationship involved in the decision making process. When the outcome of a decision depends on the course of action, we change one or more aspects of the problematic situation with the interaction of bringing about a desirable change in some other aspect of it. I will repeat once again. When the outcome of a decision depends on the course of action, we change one or more aspects of the problematic situation with the intention of bringing about a desirable change in some other aspect of it. See, whenever you are not going to get the desirable outcome, you are going to change the course of action so that the desirable outcome will be got. Until and unless you will get a desirable outcome, you keep on repeating the process. We succeed if we have knowledge about the interaction among the components of the problem. Only if you have the knowledge about the interaction among the components of the problem, then only you can succeed. Here, the interactions representing the cause and effect relationship among inputs, resources, forecasts, and outcomes. Those factor interactions are very much important. If you have the knowledge of resources, inputs, outputs, and forecast, then only you will going to have the knowledge about the interaction among the components. Sixth one is action is the ultimate decision and is the best course of strategy to achieve the desirable goal. Decision making involves the selection of a course of action in the pursuit of decision maker's objective. It's the from decision maker. Action will be taken from the decision maker. The way that our course of action affects the outcome of a decision depends on how the forecaster and the other inputs are interrelated and how they are related to the outcome. See here, action is the ultimate decision in the best course of strategy to achieve the desirable goal. Decision making involves the selection of course of action in pursuit of decision maker's objective. That means decision maker objectives and course of action are the selected for decision making. The way that our course of action affects the outcome of a decision depends on how the forecasts and other inputs are interrelated and how they are related to the outcome. I told you the importance of the interrelation of the different factors: input, output, resources, and forecasts are interrelated. The course of action also gets affected from those factors and depends on the how the forecaster and the other inputs are related and their results of their outcome related to the outcome. Okay, coming to the next topic, integration of technology, production, innovation, and product development in business processes within enterprises. In many companies, product development technology is usually a key instrument in the organization of manufacturing as well as administrative tasks. If you take any company, any engineering industry or consultancy services or any other service sector, product development technology is a key instrument in the organization of manufacturing as well as administrative tasks. Product development technology, I already told about the product development In the second module, product development technology is a key in the organization of manufacturing as well as for the administrative task. Integration of technology and business processes represents a strategic link for creating efficiencies in the development of highly complex products. Integration of technology and business processes. Here one thing you have to make clear, what is the difference between technology and business processes? I will give you an example for this. Technology involves you are using some manufacturing method. Take that as a technology. The budget, it is nothing but a business process. Budget of the organization is a business process. See, these two are nothing but technology and business processes. It presents a strategic link for creating efficiency in the development of highly complex products. Always keep in mind, integration of technology and business processes presents a strategic link. It presents a strategic link for creating efficiencies in the development of highly complex products. See, a company is there. A company you want to it wants to develop a highly complicated or highly complex product. For example, a novel aircraft. See, what that company should possess? It has to possess the integration of technology and business processes. By integration of technology and business processes, a strategic link is connected. A strategic link will be formed for creating the efficiencies in the development of that aircraft, novel aircraft. That is the meaning. Highly complex product. Integration of individual technological process and their inputs and outputs. Integration of technology and other business processes, or integration of market demands and technological capacities, etc. All those processes require a building up a functional technology infrastructure network. Here the meaning is, if you take integration of individual technological processes and their inputs and outputs, one point, integration of technology and other business processes, or integration of market demands and technological capacities, all these processes required a building up of functional technology infrastructure or network. It requires a building up of a functional technology network. Integration, if you want to integrate the market processes, market demands and technological capacities, or integration of different technological process, integration of technology and business processes, it requires building up of a technological network. This technology infrastructure or network should be designed to run production as well as other business process, including data centers that enables information and communication technology to be used as a platform upon which business decisions are made. This technology infrastructure, whatever I told, a technology network should be designed to run, it should be designed in such a way that to run production as well as other business processes, including data centers that enables information and communication technology to be used as platform upon which business decisions are made. See here, whatever the network you have created, you are builded, that network should be designed to run the production as well as other business processes, including data centers that enables ICT to be used as a platform upon which business decisions are made. Here what happens, for example, is if you take a company which is having an ERP, enterprise resource planning. Here the finance department think that in an ERP, by using an ERP in a company, finance department will be having the accessibility of raw material department or purchasing department or any other department, so that what happens there, the communication will develop between the one and another department. See what happens when the communication develops. Whenever the communication develops between the each and every department, that makes the top management, top priority person or the decision maker to take the decisions easily. He will get the feedbacks. He will understand what are the controllable and uncontrollable factors. He will do the forecasting perfectly. He will forecast so that the business will develop, right? So here, to build an ICT platform, what here the building up of technology infrastructure or technology network is very much necessary. How we are going to build a technology network? By integration of the business processes as well as the technological processes, by market and business processes, by inputs and outputs of the technological processes. You are going to build a technology network, right? Next point is, purposeful technological infrastructure should be a functional part of the organizational structure, especially as regard to the distribution of technological competence, information and responsibilities among business departments. Understand? See, purposeful technological infrastructure or technological network should be a functional part of the organizational structure, especially as regards to the distribution of technological competence, information and responsibilities among business departments. That's what I told. Now, if you take the different departments, it may be business departments or technology departments. If you take different business department, for example, finance, accounts, purchasing, subcontract, these different departments, it builds the technological competence, it gives the responsibilities, it shares the information. Okay, it is so therefore technological infrastructure or technological network is a functional part of the organizational structure, especially as regards to the distribution of technological competence. Each and every department will be having the technology competence part, right? It will be distributed in all the departments. Integrated technological capacities with customer needs, technology with business strategy, technology and other business processes, and technology elements and processes often requires a three-step mechanism of technology management. Understand? Here, if you want to integrate technology capacities with the customer needs, with the business strategies, and technology and other business processes, technological elements and process, it is a three-step mechanism. It requires a three-step mechanism of technology management. Namely, integration of technological implementation, technology identification, what are the three-step mechanisms? Namely, integration of technology identification, implementation and potential technology, commercialization process. The three steps I will repeat: integration of technology identification, implementation and potential technology commercialization processes. These are the three-step mechanisms. All these processes should be properly connected and realized systematically. See, integration requires a three-step mechanism. What are the three steps involved? Integration of technological identification, technological implementation. You have to identify the technology, you will have to implement the technology, and potential technology commercialization. You have to finally commercialize that potential technology process. These three-step mechanisms can be used for integration of the business processes and technology. Technology identification requires adequate external and internal technological analysis. If you take first step, technology identification, it requires adequate external and internal technology analysis, and eventually the creation of technology radar. Further technology assessment should provide a course for technology planning and for subsequent applied research and development. Here, first step is technology identification, which requires adequate external and internal technology analysis. Eventually, the creation of further technology assessment should provide a course for technology planning and for subsequent applied research and development. What is the second step? Technology implementation is the second step. It requires a technological change, right? Or innovation, which calls for an adequate adoption mechanism that should allow tracking new technology in a company, including technology development needs, change in organization culture, and new personnel tasks. What first step requires? First one is technology identification. Second is technology implementation. Technology identification requires adequate external and internal technology analysis, whereas technology implementation requires technological innovations or changes, which calls for adequate adaptation mechanism that should allow tracking new technology in a company, including technology development needs, change in organization culture, and new personal tasks. Here, whenever you implement a technology, there is a adaptation required. You have to have the capability of adaptation. The company should have that capability. New personal tasks. The person has to be personal, means an individual should be capable of adapting those changes or capable of implementing that technology in the organization for integrating the technology and business processes for producing the complex product, for developing the complex product. Okay, that is the reason. Here, adapting mechanism, it also allows the tracking a new technology in a company. That is the technological implementation. Second step, the new object of business in many industries has become subsequent technology commercialization. It is called as, in short form, TC. Technology commercialization has become subsequent of businesses in many industries. Technology commercialization is usually accompanied by the acquisition of adequate intellectual property rights that can be a driver of shareholders' value, but also an open-ended stopover for economic growth of the company. Here, whatever the technology I identified, implemented, finally you are going to commercialize that. It usually accompanied by the acquisition of adequate intellectual property rights, IPR, intellectual property rights that can be a driver of shareholder values. The economic growth of the company is from the technology commercialization. It is an open-ended stopover for economic growth of the company. So here, It is accompanied by acquisition of adequate intellectual property rights. Understand, this is about the technology commercialization. Whenever you want to commercialize that technology, you should have adequate IPR, which brings the economic growth, shareholders values, that can be a driver for shareholders values also. Therefore, it is an important to appropriately plan also technology commercialization TC with an technology strategy to adapt formal as well as informal integration mechanisms, because these are usually positively associated with successful technology commercialization. Informal integration mechanisms can also moderate required capability sources for technology commercialization. Here, it is important for appropriately plan also technology commercialization within a technology strategy, and to adapt formal as well as informal integration mechanisms, because these are usually positively associated with successful technology commercialization. Informal integration mechanisms can also moderate required capability sources for technology commercialization. Informal integration mechanisms is an important sentence here. You have to understand that sentence. Here, for technology commercialization, you need to adapt formal as well as informal integration mechanisms. Informal integration mechanisms can also be moderate required capability sources for technology commercializations. This study is mainly focused on identifying integrative aspects between strategic and technology management and within technology identification processes that are most important for effectiveness of technology management. The study is mainly focused on identifying integrative aspects between strategy and technology management and within technology identification process that are most important for effectiveness of technology management. You can see in the diagram systematic process of integrated technology management. Integration of technology management. Here you can see the different domains which are interrelated. Finally, showing the integration of the whole technology management. You can see from starting identification, implementation and commercialization. In identification, technology analysis and radar. I told you, technology assessment, technology foresight and planning, technology research and development is an identification of the technology, gives an identification of the technology, which is also responsible for integration of technology management. Second, if you take implementation, technology innovation, technology education and personal development. What is the implementation? You are training the operator. You are implementing the technology means you are making an operator to do the work. That is implementation. So, technology education or training and personal development and technology innovation are the both aspects comes under implementation. So, which also takes as an forward direction towards integrated technology management, right? Finally, commercialization. What has to be needed for commercialization? I told you, IPR and marketing, management of technology portfolio, technology transfer and sale. Technology portfolio means technology, that list of different domains, right? Technology transfer and sale. These are the three requirements for involved in commercializations, which also gives for integration. See, these three steps are, whenever they ask integration of the technology management, you have to draw this diagram. The diagram carries 50% of marks. Based on this diagram, you can explain the three main steps in the integrating technology management. What are the three main steps involved? Identification, implementation and commercialization of the technology. Identification involves technology analysis and radar, technology assessment, technology forecasting and planning, technology R&D. What is implementation? Included, what is there in the implementation? Technology innovation, training, development, education and personal development. What is there in the commercialization? Technology transfer and sale, IPR and marketing, management of technology portfolio. These are the three main steps in integrating the technology management. Strategic and operative technology management integration aspects. The first step is in the technology management integration is to identify and impose strategic technological issues in strategic management. In the field of strategic management, deals with major intended and emergent initiatives taken by managers or owners of a company involving the determination of a vision, mission, key long terms goals and plans and the allocation of investment necessary for those goals and plans. Here, the field of strategic management deals with major intended and emergent initiatives taken by managers or owners of a company involving the determination of a vision, mission, key long term goals and plans and the allocation of investment necessary for those goals and plans. That is the strategic management with major intended and emergent initiative. Intended and emergent initiative taken by the managers should have that vision, mission, goal, long term goals and all. Technology management is more operationalized management that includes effective identification, selection, acquisition, research, use and protection of technology, elements, processes and infrastructure. Elements, processor, infrastructures necessary to achieve and sustain market positions and business performance of an organization in conformity with its strategic objectives. See here, technology management is more operationalized management, right? That includes element, processes and infrastructures which are necessary to achieve and sustain market positions, right, and business performances of an organization in conformity with strategic objectives. See here, strategic objectives the company may be having, right? In conformity with that, the technology management is more operational management, right? That includes element, processes and infrastructures which are necessary to achieve and sustain the market positions and business performance, right? It needs elements, process and infrastructures, right? That is the meaning. Strategic management should provide technology management and strategic technology goals, task, responsibilities, finance, investment, information and control. It should provide all those things. Technology management should provide strategic management with information, proposals for investment, technology, infrastructure and support, right? These two sentences are very, very important. See, first point is what strategic management should provide. Strategic management should provide technological management with strategic technology, strategic goals, tasks, responsibilities, finance, investments, information and control, whereas technology management should provide strategic management with information, proposal for investment, technology infrastructure and support. See, both are interrelated. Strategic management and technology management are interrelated. One has to cope up with the another, right? Both requires things one and to one another. They have to exchange the things with one another. Then only the key goal of the organization will be met, right? Each assessment of technology management should consider its three vertical levels. Strategic management level, first one, how much in the strategic management level, how technology should be implemented and managed in different areas of our businesses, maybe in production, supply chain, marketing, management, administration, control, etc. First step is strategic management level. Second one is strategic technology management level. Third one is operative technology management level. These are the three verticals. Okay, in the three verticals, first one is strategy management level. Strategy management level, I told you how technology should be implemented and managed in different areas of a business. What is strategy technology management level? What value added profit and competitive advantages does technology bring to a business specific business unit? Okay, what value added profit and competitive advantages does technology to bring a specific business unit? Operative technology management includes how to optimize internal processes in order to manage technology and its components effectively. See, these are the three vertical levels under the assessment of technology management: strategic management level, technology management level, operative technology management level, right? These are the three vertical levels. You can see three vertical levels starting from strategic management, strategic technology management, and operative technology management. See, and you can see in this diagram there the involvement versus time with the complexity of the product. First vertical is assessment of the technological management includes the strategic management in the first vertical. With the strategic management, you can see there strategic goals, finance, investment, responsibilities, task, okay, and technology support platforms, information keys from the strategic technology management. Second step is strategic technology management, which gives input for strategic management with technology support platforms, information, key measurements, etc. Here strategic technology management is the inputs given by the operative technology management, that is technology objectives, finance, investment, responsibilities, tasks also. Third one is the operative management. It finally it operates, right? Project 1, 2, 3. Here technology support platforms, information, etc. are the three are the requirements of the operative technology management. Gives, see here, strategic management, it takes and gives the from the strategic management. Strategic management also, the output is three projects. If you take for example, then again the feedback will be taken to the strategic management for the development of the operative technology management. With respect to the involvement with respect to time, this diagram is very much important whenever they ask regarding the technology management, assessment of the technology management, integration of different levels of technology management. Finally, the last topic is methods and tools in the innovation process according to the situations. Organizational innovation transforms companies. Organizational innovations transform companies and does it quickly, efficiently, and cost effectively. Always organization innovations, it transforms companies, takes to the next level, next higher level. It does it quick, it does the company to move it quickly, effectively, and cost effectively. properly implemented organizational innovation, what it does, it boosts efficiency, productivity, quality and competitiveness. It captures value through solutions that meet new needs, unarticulated needs or existing market needs in unique ways. It increases job satisfaction, employee motivation and worker capacity, worker creativity, empowers employees to improve work processes. Right. See, properly, I will explain once again, properly implemented organizational innovations boost efficiency, productivity, quality and competitiveness in an organization. It capture value through solutions that meets new needs, unarticulated needs. Unarticulated means unexplained needs or existing market needs in an unique ways. It increases job satisfaction, employee motivation and worker creativity, empowers employees to improve work process. Okay, this things will be obtained in an organization by properly implementation. Methods and tools for innovations are as follows. See now, based on the situation is one question here. What situation? Always the situation will be a challenging one in an organization. Innovation is required in a challenging environment or challenging situation. The tools for innovations are as follows. Methods and tools. Organizational innovations involve brainstorming. In organizational innovation needs mind mapping, includes mind mapping, forced connections. Organizational innovation needs rapid prototyping, ethnography, praise first, phrasing problems as questions. These are the methods and tools for innovations. Understand? Once again list this: brainstorming, mind mapping, forced connection, rapid prototyping, ethnography, praise first, phrasing problems as questions. These are the tools for innovations. See, if you go through the different textbooks, different methods and innovations are given, but one company, it depends on the company according to the situation. Now we are considering the situation as a challenging one for a development of a new product in PLM. See, this is the situation. So for that situation, particular situation, what are the methods and tools for innovations? See, I have considered these tools and innovations. In the examination, you have to write this answer only. Understand? These are the tools for the innovations: brainstorming, brain mapping, forced connections, rapid prototyping, ethnography, phrase first, phrasing problems as questions. Okay, we'll go through each and every tool and method now. What do you mean by brainstorming? Developed organization innovation developed by advertising executive Alex Osborne. Brainstorming is among the most effective tool around for driving organizational innovation. It is also among the most misunderstood. Brainstorming done right isn't just throwing ideas out there. It's a formalized process that generates solutions much more than the sum of their parts. I already explained the brainstorming in the previous video lectures. Here, the brainstorming is the one of the method for innovation also. It is one of the method for technology forecasting also. One of the method for innovation also. Right. It gives out the ideas for a particular solution, particular problem or solution. Mind mapping. What is mind mapping? Another popular but misunderstood tool. Mind mapping goes beyond just capturing a linear flow of words. When done right, mind mapping captures data, challenges idea, promotes creative solutions and defines action steps, and it can all do it words and pictures. Right? Mind mapping involves collection of different ideas from an individual person by mapping up, by allocating some of the questions to him, right, in the form of images, right? That is called as mind mapping. That mind mapping goes beyond just capturing a linear flow of words. It just goes beyond capturing linear flow of words. When done right, mind mapping captures data, challenges ideas, promote creative solutions, and define action steps. And it can do it in words and pictures. That is the thing. What are forced connections? This tool is the premise that underpins many creative thinking techniques. Basically, it requires you to take a stimulus and ask, when I look at this, what ideas do I get for solving the problem? Answering this tool forces you to combine two previously unconnected things. Here, forced connection means whenever the question is asked to a person, when you look at this, what ideas do I get for solving the problem? See, whenever he thinks about that, that is called as the force. When you get connected with that problem, that is called a force connection. Answering that tool forces person to combine two previously unconnected things. Right? What are the two previous unconnected things? Brainstorming and mapping. Right? Both are unconnected. It makes two connected and gives the most efficient solution. Rapid prototyping is another tool for innovation. It drives innovation by quelling the fear companies have to develop a new product or service, cost huge sums. Developing simple prototypes can serve as a vehicle for continuous learning. Already you know what is rapid prototyping. Rapid prototyping, 3D printing, right? All are one and the same. Right, advanced manufacturing. In advanced manufacturing technology, you learned about this rapid prototyping, 3D printing. This is, see here, by quelling the fear companies that have the development of new product or service cost huge sums. Developing simple prototypes and can serve as a vehicles for continuous learning. You know that what is the rapid technology involves? It just creates an prototype before the actual manufacturing of a complex product. Instead of wasting money, it gives you a prototype of the product, right? That is called rapid prototype. On the prototype you can test and get the results, right? So here it saves cost, time, and huge investment. Bro, say rapid prototyping helps companies more incrementally towards a finished product or servicing or and decreasing risk while creating energy. Rapid prototyping often saves millions in new product development. Rapid prototyping nowadays has become an inevitable part of the new product development. It is a must and should part of the new product development because it saves millions of rupees and time, right? Because otherwise, uh, when you without rapid prototyping, we have to actually thank this rapid prototyping technology, because without this you can't save lakhs of millions of money. Otherwise what you have to need to do is, you have to, on trial and error basis, you have to develop the product, test for the product, and invest huge amount to save that. The rapid prototyping is one of the innovation tool according to the situation. Ethnography. This research tool involves watching customers interact with the product or service in the environment to see what works best. Ethnography is nothing but a study of customer interaction with a product or service in the environment to see how the product works to its best. Understand? It is great for gaining customer input that can really help drive innovation. It's also great for unearthing needs customer can't articulate because of familiarity. See here, whenever you get the feedback from the customer, you're going to change the product according to the needs of the customer. That is one thing all of the company does. See, what is ethnography? The studying how you have to watch carefully. It is a research tool. involves watching carefully how the customer is interacting with the product or service in within the environment to see how how best it works for the company, right? That is called as ethnography. Whenever the customer gives you the inputs from that, that can be that can be taken as an innovation tool, that is called as an ethnography. Yes, what helps from taking an input from the customer? See here, see the customer inputs may give you the innovation idea, right? May give an initiative, may give an ignite you an idea for the innovation, right? See, for example, I have an flange coupling. For example, I want to have the 3-plate flange coupling, right? 3 plates flange coupling. Only in the flange coupling 2 plates are there. A customer needs 3-plate flange coupling. A spacer is needed in between the 2 plates. In that, in the if the customer says to the manufacturer like this, it creates, ignites an idea in the mind of the manufacturer, so he can develop the spacer or a 3-plate flange coupling. So this is called as an ethnography, for example. Then it becomes a new product as a whole. Understand? It becomes a new product as a whole. This is most important tool one who looks into. Praise first. What do you mean by praise first? An affirmative judgment technique. This tool does 3 things. It praises what's good idea about goods about an idea, lists the limit of the idea in the form of question, and applies creative thinking to overcome those limitations. It helps, gives an idea a fair hearing. How to praise an idea of the consultant or the person who is involved in innovation. Praise him first. Oh, this is a tool which does 3 things. It praises what is good about an idea, list the limits of the idea in the form of questions, and applies creative thinking to overcome these limitations. These are the 3 things involved in affirmative judgment technique. By praising, right? It helps give an idea for a fair hearing. Understood? See here, most important thing, list the limit of the idea in the form of a question. You have to list the limit of an idea in the form of a question, then solve that question, or creative thinking is required to overcome the limitations. Whatever the questions you have framed, that questions, the solution for that questions, by thinking or creative thinking, you can solve the questions. These are the affirmative judgment technique, right? Praise first. This is one of the innovative tool. Last one is phrasing problem as questions. Phrasing problems as questions. This technique can frame challenges clearly. Sometimes when looking at problem, we get stuck because our brain looks for evidence that supports the assertion. But rephrasing the challenges as a question triggers our brain to start solving the problem. The sudden shift in perspective invites solutions automatically. See, I have to quote an example here to understand phrasing problems as a questions. For example, take you are having a CNC machine. In a CNC machine, you are machining in CNC turning machine. In CNC turning machine, you are doing turning process for a casting. All of a sudden, you will get a blowhole in a component after turning. Understood? What happens? What you are going to call that product after turning? After getting a blowhole in a component during turning, you are telling that you will judge that component as a rejected component, right? In that, see, you have to frame that problem as a question. Framing that problem as a question. What is the question now? What made the blowhole to be present inside the casting component before machining? Always you might have saw the blow holes will appear on the upper surface of the component. But what about the blow hole which is inside the component, when it is only visible after machining, CNC turning? See, if you phrase that problem as a question, then one brains gets trigger out and he can solve that problem. That is the very important thing in this step. This is an innovation, beautiful innovation tool. Phrasing a problem as a question is a very important and very effective innovative tool for the particular situation. Understand? I, I given an example. I will repeat that example. Think that you are having a casting component as cast. You are turning in a CNC turning machine. In between turning, inside the component, you will notice a blowhole. Right? What you going to call that component as cast component? Now you are going to call the as cast component as a defected component or a rejected component, because the blowhole has been appeared. You don't want blowhole. Where the blowhole occurs in the foundry technique only, right? So here what you can ask as a question for this problem: what made the what made the as cast component to have the blowhole inside part of it? One ask an foundryman as a question to it, whether the gases involved are not were not able to escape from the what you call the mold or not, whether proper ventilation was not done, venting was not done, ramming was not done. See, that triggers out a question within the person. Phrasing problem as a question is a very, very important innovation tool, right? These are the tools which are used for particular situation in the methods. These 7 tools comprise a small sampling of the dozen out there, can help you drive innovation at your company. That is a good thing. Innovation transforms companies. Always innovation transform companies. It can transform your company from being as also ran in industry through dominant market leader that sets the pace. For example, for Triveni turbines, you might have heard Triveni turbines. In Mysore, it was starting with a small scale company. It has grown into multinational company. It is not far away from being a Fortune 500 company. Now, Triveni turbines is one of an example. Initially, they were manufacturing only a small turbines, small water turbines, Francis and Kaplan turbines. Now they are into all forms of turbines. They are manufacturing gas turbines, all kinds of turbines for aircrafts, for all the purposes. Now it has become an MNC company because of their innovation. Always organization transforms because of the innovation. It grows. It makes its pace on its own. It does not set an benchmark, but it grows in a large manner, right? For example, a Coca-Cola company, initially it was that it was not a soft drink. It was initially used as a medicine to overcome some gastritis problem, right? Now it has become a soft drink company, and it has grown like anything, right? So in this way, the companies gets driven through innovation to a larger extent. They will make their mark in the market. They will make their own steps in the market. It makes their pace in the market with their growth. But innovation does not just happen. You have to drive it. Otherwise, it will stay powerful but untapped resource. One day companies can afford to squander. Otherwise, company will drastically get down. Otherwise, company can't survive. Squander means it will get destroyed. So to not only just to survive, for growth, innovation is required for any company. Okay, see, this completes the fourth module, technology forecasting. See, I have done 3 video lectures. For each video lecture I have taken approximately 1 hour time. 3 hour times I have taken. See, any doubt in this video lecture, any question to be asked, you can ask me in the Google Classroom, or you can just WhatsApp me, or you can call me at any time. I will answer the questions. You can refer the notes, refer the study materials, whatever I given to you. If at all any question is arised, please within you, please ask the question. I am going to clarify that. Whatever the doubts, I am going to answer that questions, whatever you may be having. Okay, see, I am going to give the assignment for this. You have to present, please submit the assignments, then only the attendance will be considered. Please note down the assignments. I have given only 2 assignments question for this video lecture. List the role of technology forecasting, explain methods and tool of innovation. These 2 simple questions I have given to you. Please answer and submit through WhatsApp individually to me. The one who not given the assignment 1 and 2, please send that also. This is assignment 3. This is my third video lecture. See, and another thing is, I am unable to use pointer or whatever you call the cursor, because have kept my laptop in the college itself. I apologize for that. It is not the reason I should say with you, I should not share with you, but I am having a difficult situation over here. Even though in the difficult situation I managed to do the video lecture, I have not used a pointer here because I am not having the laptop or the PC with me. I just typed the things in the computer itself. I prepared this PowerPoint presentation. I hope you understood about the technology forecasting module. Any questions or any doubts or any queries, please don't hesitate to ask. I have given you assignments. Please write the assignments and submit. Thank you.